Hey, so tomorrow's the big day. Haven't talked to you guys in a long time, but I thought about it and I was like, if I'm going to be leading trips, I should do something to kind of show people what the trips are like, and I really enjoy it. I think they're a lot of fun. So 2 years ago, I led a couple of us to Peru, and we went to places like Cusco, Machu Picchu, Ollantaytambo, Ollantaytambo, places like that. And there was so many crazy cool things that happened. I did record a lot of videos of that, but I never followed through and kind of finished it. So I'm hoping that this will give me the bug and then I'll kind of finish it. But yeah, so right now I'm on the way to pick up my daughter in San Francisco at SFO, and then we'll come back, we'll pack, and tomorrow's the big day, man. Flying to Venice tomorrow. So excited to take you guys along with me. Hopefully it's a good time. Okay, so got myself a coffee. Still trying to get to the freeway to kind of talk about the trips and like what we've done. I figured this might be a good time for me to just kind of like share a little bit about like how the last trip went. Which was fantastic. It went great. I know I was laughing. Oh, again, I gotta stick it on there. Okay, so it went fantastic, but there was a couple hiccups early, and I'll kind of talk to you guys about that one because I thought it was hilarious. After the fact, during the fact, not so much. Okay, so the original trip was gonna be like 12 people, maybe like 8 students and like 3 or 4 adults. And you know, then COVID happened, so that we were supposed to go in 2020. COVID happens. We then have to push it back a couple years, and so that trip ended up just being 2 boys that wanted to go. And so one of the guys that wanted to go, you know, I was like, man, it doesn't seem really worth it to take 2 people, you know. And he just said, you know, hey, people's like, this is what got me through high school, knowing that I was going to get to see Machu Picchu and go to Peru and have an adventure. And so it's like, how can you say no to somebody like that? So I did it, and so we went. And the funny part is, right, and so you have like, it's still Zoom time, so like everybody's familiar with Zoom, and if you work in education, you know that Zoom is a hot mess. Half the students don't pay attention, the other half are sleeping, you know, and so you might have 2 kids paying attention. But we have a Zoom call, you know, on the Wednesday before we fly out on a like Sunday night, right? And so I'm talking to them about, you know, what to bring, what not to bring, all that kind of stuff. Make sure I tell them, hey, you got to be at the airport by 8:30, right? We fly out at 11. That's a little early for me. Like 2 hours, I feel like is plenty of time. But when you have multiple passengers and stuff, and you don't know if they've ever traveled, I wanted them early, right? So we get there, and it's like I'm waiting, you know. Then the other guy shows up, and I'm like, hey, you know, talk to his family and stuff. And it's like 5 minutes before he's supposed to be there. So I call him, and I'm like, hey, where are you at? And he goes, what do you mean? I'm at home. And he's like, where are you at? And I'm like, I'm at the airport. And he goes, for what? And I go, because we're going to Peru. And he goes, that's in July. And so we left in the beginning of June. And I was like, that is not true. We just talked about this, you know, like 3 days earlier. So anyway, I'm like, you know what? I don't know what to tell you. There is no way you make it from Newman, where he lives, to San Francisco in time. And so I'm like, and we got a board, so I'll call you back, you know. And so we go through the pre-check stuff, get through the security checkpoints, and then as we get it through the security checkpoints, I call him right after we get out through it, right? And I'm like, okay, so what you guys like what are we gonna do? And so apparently his parents called the tour company, which I like ACIS. I feel like if you're going to do an educational tour, you're gonna do some type of touring like that, I think it's worth it. They're a little bit more expensive than some of the other ones, but you stay in like hotels that are downtown. The tour guides are the best, you know, and I felt really taken care of. And part of the reason why I felt really taken care of, did you see this guy? Wow. Part of the reason why I felt really taken care of is because of this student, you know. And so the parents paid, I don't know, I think it was like $1,000 more, and they got him on a red eye, or the next flight. We were on the red eye, but they got him on the next flight to Peru. So they drive up, they get him there. We get to Peru. We end up in the Miraflores district of Peru, which is very like nice. It's upscale. There's like an Apple store. It's super nice. And it's like, you know, we get there, walk around, eat, stuff like that. He wasn't gonna get there until about 1 o'clock Peruvian time, in the morning. And so 1 or 2, and I was like, okay, I'll go get him. The tour manager was like, no, my friend, that's my job. And so I guess I shouldn't say his name, but I talked to the guy and said, and kind of gave him protocol for like airports, and not to get into just anybody's taxi or anybody's car or whatever. So, I mean, Zoom calls are the worst. So, and he apparently gets off the plane. And Peru is much like Mexico in that you'll have a lot of drivers out front just trying to like earn some fare. And so, you know, every time you walk out, oh, my friend, come this way, you know, I got you, we'll take you wherever we want to go. And so I'm like, you can't do that. You have to look for the exact company, you know, and I gave him all the details. So he gets off the plane, he walks out, right? He's a big grizzly looking guy, great guy. But, you know, first guy goes, oh, my friend, you're with the tour company? Oh yeah, I'll get you there. We'll get you to the hotel right now. And he throws him in a taxi cab, and they take him to a hostel. Both of them, they kind of overcharged him. You know, the taxi ride was like $75, and the hostel was like $200, which is wild to me. Like, I don't know if it's because he didn't speak Spanish. I don't really know. But so anyway, at like probably 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, I get a call from the other student that went, and he goes, hey, he's going, we'll call him Emmy. Emmy's going back to the airport. And I'm like, why is he going back to the airport? He's supposed to be on his way here. And then he goes, I don't know. He said he had to go at a hostel, and he's going back, and they're kicking him out of the hostel, and he has to go back to the airport. And so I'm like, oh my gosh. So I go downstairs, you know, and I'm like, I don't know, like, our tour manager, I guess he went, couldn't find him, came back, you know, called, filed a report, all those things. Apparently Mickey did not set it up internationally on his cell phone, or Emmy, I should say, didn't set it up on his cell phone. So I could not call him. And so I get downstairs, I look for, I think Fernando, and I don't see him. So I talk to the concierge, and I'm like, hey, I need a taxi. I gotta go to the airport. I gotta get this guy. So the concierge like, oh, I don't know if you want to do. I'm like, I'm doing it. Get me a taxi, right? So he gets me a taxi. I tell the taxi driver, you know, like, we have to get to the airport as fast as humanly possible, right? Then I kind of laid out the whole situation. And, you know, I have a student that is kind of stranded at the airport, and so he's like, all right. And if anybody has ever been in Lima, they say that the music of Lima is the honking of horns, right, on the freeway. Very, very true. So he's like takes off, right, and you know, this guy was a great driver, but I definitely felt like he was like, okay, I'm gonna be your transporter today, because he was ducking in and out of like semi trucks, ducking in and out of like, they had construction vehicles on the freeway. He's ducking in, out, almost hitting guys. It's like almost something out of like, not quite a Jason Bourne movie, but it was pretty crazy. And so while this is all going on, I'm talking to his mom, you know, making sure I let her know, hey, I am going to take care of your son, right? Like, I'm not gonna let anything happen to your son. I'm gonna find your son. You know, I have a unique set of skills. But son of a, I'm really hesitant on sticking it there because I'm not gonna be driving around with a camera all that often. But yeah, so we end up going to the airport, right? And I'm like, okay, we're just gonna drive down the main strip and then we'll see what happens. So we drive down, I have him park, I hop out, I start looking for him, and then I see him walking up after getting out of a cab, and he looks at me, his eyes get all big, he has a huge smile, I could tell he was like freaked out, you know. And so we give each other a big old hug, you know. I'm so happy to see him, and that he's not like missing a kidney or something. And so super happy to see him. We hug each other. We get back into the cab, have him call his mom. He can't call his mom, so I have to call his mom. You know, everything worked out fantastic. But, you know, then talking to him, I'm like, you know, how much have you traveled? He's like, never. I was like, have you ever been on a plane before? No. Okay, I should have asked that question a long time ago. But it was so crazy. And that was just like the first morning, you know what I mean? Like, he missed that first night where we went out to dinner and walked around Lima and went to like an art gallery and stuff like that. But he got back on and it was great after that. It was just a little stressful early on, you know. And so I actually love that story. And that is part of the reason why I'm gonna do a vlog or a travel vlog, is because I think that's pretty funny. And so it would have been nice to have that documented. And it's funny after the fact. During it, I was really stressed out. And then after talking to the ACIS representatives and stuff, it's like the Peruvian government launched an inquiry, and they had to look into that because it's just a bad look, you know, if you have a taxi driver kind of take advantage of a teenager. So lots of things that we learned. This trip will not be that hectic. Okay, so God has blessed me in so many ways, and just the ability to like travel and stuff has always been something that I've loved doing. Mostly, like, I've traveled around the US and Mexico. Peru was the first time off our continent, so this will be the second time off the continent. Super looking forward to just meeting new people. You know, we're going with a group from, I believe, Indiana, and they have, I think, we have 14 going, 15 including myself, and I think they have like 18, so we're gonna be a pretty large group. But you definitely get to know the people that you're traveling with. We have a cool tour guide. Her name's Simone. Simi is what she, I think, loves to be called. I've only corresponded with her through email. She has a master's degree in Italian history, which I think is fantastic, being a history nerd myself. Yeah, I can't wait. I know. So I'm not sure if you're just a former student, if you were a friend of mine checking out the video, or if you just happened upon it. Either way, thanks a lot. Hopefully you come along this journey with me.